Get ready for this shocker. Hollywood actor Dennis Quaid is coming out as the C word. No, not that C word. Dennis Quaid is coming out as a Christian. Stay tuned till the end of our video to see some shocking news about Hollywood bigwigs who are actually crying out for Christ, out loud and in public. Is it possible that Hollywood is hopping on a 2,000-year-old trend called Christianity? Take actor Dennis Quaid, for instance. Quaid is best known for his roles in The Right Stuff, The Rookie, and Far From Heaven, but Dennis Quaid himself isn't far from heaven at all. Not only is he about to play a role in Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone spinoff, Reeves, he just released his original gospel album called Fallen in July of 2023. Quaid's 12-song collection called Fallen, a gospel record for sinners, includes original songs like Please Don't Give Up on Me, Fallen, and others written by Quaid himself. His album also features famous voices from the gospel group The Isaacs, Jackson Brumley, and the Grammy Award-winning group The Oak Ridge Boys. They provide background harmony on cover songs like I'll Fly Away and Life's Railway to Heaven. Quaid even did a cover of the Christian classic Amazing Grace. So why is an A-list actor from mainstream Hollywood suddenly singing church music? According to Dennis Quaid, it wasn't so sudden. He says he grew up in a Baptist church. He remembers loving the hymns there. He says he wrote On My Way to Heaven for his mom when he got out of rehab, or what he calls cocaine school, back in 1990. He sang that song to let her know he was okay, because he was definitely not okay before that. Yeah, cocaine is a hell of a drug, as they say.
I grew up at the Baptist church, and I love all the hymns that come from there. I guess what really spurred it was On My Way to Heaven, which I wrote for my mom when I got out of what I call cocaine school back in 1990, to let her know I was okay, because I wasn't okay before then.
Quaid has been open about his struggle with addiction in the past. On the Megyn Kelly Today show back in 2018, he said he was basically doing cocaine on a daily basis during the 1980s, like so many other drug-addled celebrities at the time. Quaid said he spent many nights screaming at God to please take his drug cravings away from him. He begged God to make him never want to do it again. And what happened next? As we know, God always answers our prayers. So, did God answer Dennis Quaid? I bet God did, but Quaid couldn't hear it, or wouldn't hear it. After a nap and a shower, he'd be on his way to the set on an hour's sleep, saying to himself, oh, it's not so bad. But steady drug use takes its toll on a body and a soul. In 1990, he came to a fork in the road on his life path. He remembers going home and having what he calls a white light experience. He saw himself either dead or in jail and losing everything he had. But even after his white light moment, he was still desperate. He still had cravings. He still wanted to escape himself by getting high.
You've been pretty open about the fact that you were a cocaine addict for a while.
Right. Basically doing cocaine pretty much on a daily basis. I'd spent many a night screaming at God to please take this away from me. I'll never do it again, because I've only got an hour before I have to be at work. And at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I would go, that's not so bad. I had what I call a white light experience, where I saw myself either dead or losing everything that meant anything to me.
He said his life was one big struggle. We're all looking for joy in life, and drugs and alcohol will give that to a person really quickly. Getting high brings instant relief from emotional agony. Quaid said drugs were fun, then they were fun with problems, and then they were just problems. Big problems. Life-threatening problems. Quaid admits that all he was looking for was some happiness in his life. You'd think he would have found happiness in being a Hollywood movie star. Nope. You'd think he could have found happiness in marrying a beautiful and famous Hollywood actress, Meg Ryan, at the time. Nope. Not that either. Tons of money? A big house? Fame and fortune? Nope. Dennis Quaid says that what he and humanity are looking for is not just momentary joy in life, but the joy of being alive, and that joy can only be found in a relationship with God. He talks about how people want desperately to fill the hole in their spirit with something that really works, something profoundly fulfilling. Drugs and alcohol only make that hole deeper and more impossible to fill. After his divorce and more recovery, Quaid turned to faith and spirituality. He studied the Bible. Good move, Dennis. The Word of God is indeed an excellent place to find fulfillment and healing, and that he did. And now he's singing about it. He says the songs on his album are self-reflective and self-examining, not churchy. Hey Dennis, what's wrong with being churchy? Isn't Jesus himself the senior pastor of the Christian church? You want to be close to Jesus, right? Maybe we can cut Dennis Quaid some slack as he finds his way to the altar of the Lord. Remember, he's on a faith path just like all of us. He was on that path back in 2018. Quaid starred in the faith-friendly movie I Can Only Imagine. The film was based on the song of the same name by Mercy Me, which was the most played radio single in Christian music history. I Can Only Imagine was one of the most significant Christian movies in recent history. It tried to send a nice, loud message to Hollywood. Hello, Hollywood, when will you get the message that you should never underestimate the power of a good faith-based film? The message behind the song in the film is that anyone can be transformed by God's love. Dennis Quaid was certainly one of those people who were transformed by God's genuine love. And then he made a gospel album. And he starred in the Christian film On a Wing and a Prayer, produced by Roma Downey. You remember Roma Downey from hit TV series Touched by an Angel. With the recent success of films like Sound of Freedom and Jesus Revolution, the movie industry is getting the message. There's profit in the pews. Some thought it was a fluke when Mel Gibson released The Passion of the Christ. Mel Gibson's Passion was such a massive success that all the Hollywood studios were forced to admit that there's a massive, underserved audience they should pay attention to. But back then, they didn't have a sense of urgency about it. Now they're missing out. Independent faith-based projects are exposing the power of faith-filled audiences. PureFlix Studios co-founder Michael Scott remembers the risk of releasing the movie God's Not Dead in theaters. Remember, once you've made a film, you need millions of dollars to promote it. God's Not Dead cost $1 million to make, but they needed $5 million to promote it. The good people at PureFlix were down on their hands and knees praying to God. They begged the Lord for help raising the funds. The Lord answered their prayers tenfold. God's Not Dead went on to make over $60 million. Now it's 2023. Movie companies are begrudgingly willing to take some chances with the new Christian subgenres. For instance, Sony Pictures is preparing for the November release of the musical Journey to Bethlehem about the Nativity. It's a full-on live-action musical complete with big, choreographed dance numbers. And guess who's playing King Herod? Hollywood A-lister Antonio Banderas. Yep, Puss in Boots himself is starring in a faith-based Christmas movie. Christian hip-hop artist Lecrae plays the part of Angel Gabriel. Who would have thought they'd see the names Antonio Banderas and Lecrae together in a movie's credits? The big film companies really lost out when Angel Studios ransomed Sound of Freedom from the dusty shelves over at Disney and released it on a crowd-funded budget. Sound of Freedom has a total box office intake of over $153 million in the United States and Canada alone. Taking notice yet, Hollywood? But more than mere profit, we at the Christian Truth Channel see a profound and eternal purpose for faith-based films. As Dennis Quaid said, there's a God-shaped hole in our souls that longs to be filled. Truly, our soul and our spirit crave something to be inspired by. We want hope. We need redemption. And in a confused, dark world, a faith-based film can light one single match that chases away the darkness. When it comes to guaranteeing we see more faith-filled content on the big and little screens, first, pray. Then we, as the Christian audience, need to buy tickets, show up, and pay it forward.